game. Like, there's been a lot of talk, right? What he has going for him is that he has the quarterback whisperer as his coach and Kevin O'Connell. But what he has kind of going against him is that we heard a lot of names, quarterbacks being floated around the Vikings this offseason, right? Them being connected to it. And that doesn't just get, like, stories don't just get kind of leaked for nothing, right? There's a reason. But they ended up not picking up a big name quarterback. They're going all in on JJ. So now all the pressure is on you to perform really in your first season, your rookie season as an NFL quarterback in a really tough division in the NFC North.
Schedule not awesome for them.
Not as hard as the Lions. Mm-hmm. And again, I think the good thing for them is that, like, obviously the Lions have a lot of changes as well. But then Packers, Jordan Love, hopefully, like, better season than last year. Bears now.
I'm trying to think. Not a lot of teams have gone 14-3 and then dumped their quarterback, you know?
Yeah,
there's not a rich history of that.
Especially like what Sam Darnold did for the Vikings last year. Also with like very low expectations and then just exceeding everybody's expectations.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WINCA in Miami, WMIB FM HD2 Fort Lauderdale. Free never sounded so good.
1-0 pitch. Stowers cracks that one out to center and deep. Siri is back. He looks up and it's gone. The Marlins waste no time. Kyle Stowers with a 2-run shot, and they take a 2-0 lead in the first.
Miami Marlins baseball is on deck.
2-1. That kicks away from Rodriguez. Hill breaks for the plate. There will be no throw. And on a wild pitch, the Marlins walk it off again. 1-2. Conine lifts out to left field. Tommy Pham working back to the warning track. So is Sawinski. They look up and it's gone. Griffin Conine to left center. And we're tied at 2 in the 7th.
Marlins on deck. Brought to you by ADT, the official smart security partner of the Miami Marlins, and Norwegian Cruise Line. Experience more at sea. Let's head out to the ballpark. Here's your host, Steven Strong.
I should have wore a cutoff sleeve. Nice job, Ahmed. Welcome live from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Home of the Yankees in the spring, but home of the Rays for the 2025 season after Hurricane Milton produced a ton of damage to Tropicana Field. It's 86 degrees. It feels like 90 with 70% humidity. Well, you're listening to Miami Marlins baseball on the radio, Fox Sports 940 Miami. It's game 61 of 162. And after what looked like an encouraging first series to the homestand against the Giants, the Marlins became part of the wrong history. Miami was swept by the Colorado Rockies, who entered Monday coming into Miami with a 9-50 record. The Rocks left 12-50, and the Marlins were caught in quicksand. After the off day, the travel was minimal, about 280 miles west, a 35-minute flight from Miami to Tampa to play in the Citrus Series on this Friday afternoon. Metallica's playing across the street. That's why we're playing here this afternoon. And with a series win, the Marlins can sweep the season Citrus Series for the first time since 2018. The first 3-SIP treaty, let me restart that one. The first 3-city trip for the Marlins begins right now. We're pumped to bring you game 1 of a 3-game set between the 33-29 Tampa Bay Rays and your 23-37 Miami Marlins. Edward Cabrera will make his first start in the month of June after he put together maybe the best month of his career in May. 5 starts, a 2 ERA over 27 frames. 29-year-old right-hander Zach Littell settles in for his 13th start for Kevin Cash's Rays. He just threw a complete game against the Astros. First pitch will be at 1:10 right here on the Marlins Radio Network. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for making Marlins on Deck a part of your Friday afternoon with Jack McMullen and Scott Kornberg. I'm Steven Strom. Got a great show for you ahead. We thank you for your participation. We'll talk about where both teams are at coming into this afternoon. Clayton McCullough will join the program. We'll get you out of the count with Cabby and Littell. Jack and Scott will jump in for some back and forth. Our Expo question of today at Marlins Radio, and, of course, Steve's guarantee to victory. So let's start here with the Rays. And they saw Miami 19 days ago, just under 3 weeks, and lost the first installment of the Citrus Series. Tampa left Miami at the time 21-25. That was back on May 18th, 4 games under. Today, They're 33-29. They've went 12-4 since that Marlins series. And entering last night, not counting their victory in walk-off fashion against the Rangers, Tampa's starters were 9-2 with a 1.75 ERA over the last 14 games. Brandon Lau is hitting .359 with 7 home runs, 15 RBIs, 19 runs scored in his last 20 games. Junior Carminario has been fabulous. He's really turned it on. Kevin Cash's team is still a good 5.5 games back of the Yankees, but man, the wild card is there for the taking. Tampa sits just a half game back of a spot. For the Marlins, enough about the Rockies now. We're onward. The trip to Tampa will be the first of 3 stops. Pittsburgh and D.C. will follow. Miami will give the ball, like we mentioned, to Edward Cabrera, who threw to a 2 ERA in the month of May. And the Marlins will also regain their coveted phenom in 22-year-old right-hander Yuri Perez on Monday. Interestingly enough, the Marlins have won 5 series this year. 3 of them have come against the teams they will see over the next 9 games. They beat the Rays 3 weeks ago. They beat the Pirates on opening day. And they also beat the Washington Nationals earlier in the season. The big question for Miami, can Pedro Guerrero kickstart a dormant offense that played at just 11 runs in 6 games? They'll have to do it without Kyle Stowers. He is out of the lineup again with hand soreness. Coming up next, we will get the manager of the Miami Marlins, Clayton McCullough, to discuss not only today, but again, this is the first time both of these teams will play the Citrus Series outdoors, the last time being 2011. It is hot, and the Marlins aren't entirely used to playing in these conditions. I know guys played in the Florida State League and in summer ball, but this feels a little bit different. That is next as Marlins on Deck continues. 1:10 first pitch on this Friday afternoon on the Marlins Radio Network.
The pitch at the same grip. You know, sometimes
1-1. Lee pumps into right center field. Myers on the move. Dane Myers back to the track. Myers jumps up, and he made an insane play. Dane Myers in right center field went leaping at the wall, full speed into the padded wall, grimacing as he lays on the warning track. But Dane Myers just took an RBI double away from Jung-Hoo Lee.
that's incredible again.
13 in the game with runners in scoring position yesterday. 1-2 pitch is a roller over to third base. Arcia's got it. He's coming home, and Goodman just didn't catch the throw. Everybody up an additional 90 feet. So Sanchez to third, Augustine to second. That'll be an RBI fielder's choice, but a missed catch error on Goodman to play X from third base. We're tied at 1 in the bottom of the first.
The outside pitch, especially when you have a moving fastball.
First pitch to Otto Lopez is cranked through the left side of the infield. That is a base hit. They're going to hold Augustine at third, but Sanchez scores from third. And Otto Lopez, the shortstop for the Fish, plates another an RBI single. 2-1 Marlins in the bottom of the first. 1-0 pitch to Wagaman. Lopez on the go. Wagaman hits one out to right field pretty deep. Freeman is setting up camp. He makes the catch. Otto retreats to first, but that is deep enough to plate Augustine from third base. A sacrifice fly for Eric Wagaman, a productive out number 2. Brings in another run. It's 3-1 Marlins in the bottom of the first.
Throw in order to get the guy at home with 1 out.
2-1. That one lined into left center field. Doyle on his horse. Doyle looking up, and that thing slams off the wall in left center field. Sanchez pulling into second base. No problem for Liam Hicks to score from third. It's an RBI double, and Jesus Sanchez is stinging the ball.
Hero Movers.
Welcome in here to Marlins on Deck as we get you ready for game 1 of a 9-game road trip here in Tampa. Feels like 89 degrees here, Clayton, and this is the first time since 2011 the Citrus Series will be played outside, obviously, with both teams in a dome. What does a response look like for your team to start here on Friday afternoon?
I think a response from us will just be like coming out and being aggressive, and I think that not means that we're up there just swinging wildly, but I think it's as much just like moving past what happened and like going in. Like, look, we get down in the game today. Like you have 2 choices, right? You either kind of we're okay with it and can easily like fold, which our group has not done to this point this year, or you just keep on plugging along and and play the thing out and give yourself a chance to come back, as we've done on a number of occasions. So for me, it's really like, look, we turn the page. You're going to have to do that a lot of points during a season, and we've done a good job to this point with that and some other type of scenarios. So I would expect our guys to come out today and, be ready to go and, get a quality outing from Edward. And hopefully, we're able to cash in on some opportunities we create offensively.
Glad you brought up Edward Cabrera. He came off the second best month of his career, a 2 ERA and 5 starts. I've seen the great Cabrera. I've seen Cabrera struggle. This is the consistent Cabrera. When you first got him in spring training, what was the first plan of action with your group with Edward Cabrera?
I think it was, for one, that we certainly all, like many, believed in the ability and believed there was a better version, a more consistent version of Edward. And I'm sure, it was that felt like for that to happen and for you to take the next steps as a major league starter and reach that consistency that you've been, and everyone's been striving for, like the commitment to throwing strikes more consistently is like, what's you need to do. And like trust that, like you were going to give up hits, you're going to give up home runs, like everyone does that. It's a tough league to live in when you're constantly behind in the count or you're giving opponents free opportunities with, the walk or, being behind in count. And we just felt like hoping we were coming into a time, the timing of the intersection between Edward and some of our, new staff members was right. Here's a player that, has some major league service time, has had some pockets of success, and now like everyone, hits kind of an inflection point in their career where it's like, it's time to it's time to take the next step. Like this is your moment in time, and we're gonna, be here to support you. And I think the group has done a really nice job. Daniel, along with, helping him with his arsenal, helping him with some of his usage, and getting him some confidence and utilizing some other weapons. And Edwards made the commitment to trust the strike throwing and be okay giving up hits. And so a lot of credit to him for doing that. And I think a lot of credit to Daniel and them as well of like just kind of helping, giving him a clear, pretty clear roadmap with what success can look like.
Cabrera will go opposite Zach Littell. And there's not many times where I can say this is your first time like being at a place that you've never managed or maybe even played before. I don't know with the Dodgers if you've ever been to Steinbrenner Field, but here we are. This is a ballpark that's allowed the 8th most home runs in the league. I'm just curious, as guys that have not played here before in the regular season, how do the dimensions play? Just what are some of the talking points when it comes to this particular stadium? Yeah,
I think the dimensions are basically the same as Yankee Stadium, right? So it's very short down the lines. Left center is going to be like left center to center field, kind of the deepest part of the ballpark. It's really short from the right field line kind of until you get towards the gap. So I think one was telling our hitters, you smoke a ball, towards either wall, especially, down the lines. Like to get a double, you got to go earn it. Like, there can be a lot of outs had on both ends on those balls. I think probably the difference here than, Yankee Stadium is probably without the upper deck. I'm sure the wind maybe is more of a factor, and the humidity, the ball is going to probably, I'm sure, carry, more than it does at Yankee Stadium in certain parts of the park. But, as far as the configuration, very similar, and, would expect just the ball to probably carry a bit more here than some others.
Clayton McCullough with us now on Marlins on Deck. Last one for you. It's the first of 9 here on this road trip. I want you to finish this sentence with me and expand. If we do this, or if this guy steps up, we're going to have a successful road trip for the first time for 3 cities.
If we continue to pitch the way we did in the month of May and limit walks and bet on the guys and their stuff, I believe we'll have a successful road trip. And the player, when Eric Wagaman has a big road trip, okay, it's going to be good for us.
I love that. All right, thank you for the time, Clayton.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, coming up next, we'll get you ahead of the count with Edward Cabrera. Again, phenomenal May. We'll see if he can continue it in June. He'll go opposite Zach Littell. 1:10 first pitch right here on the Marlins Radio Network.
On thrown on the run.
A 1 pitch is hammered out to left center field, pretty deep. Hernandez is back, track, wall. He jumps up. Hernandez made the catch. Heriberto Hernandez, in his second major league game, takes a 2-run home run away from Tyler Fitzgerald to end the inning.
The pitch at the same grip. Sometimes
1-1, Lee pumps into right center field. Myers on the move. Dane Myers back to the track. Myers jumps up, and he made an insane play. Dane Myers in right center field went leaping at the wall, full speed into the padded wall, grimacing as he lays on the warning track, but Dane Myers just took an RBI double away from Jung-Hoo Lee.
That's incredible again.
Fourth shutout for the Marlins. We've seen Edward Cabrera the last couple of seasons. We've seen the great Cabrera. We've seen the struggling Cabrera. We're seeing the consistent Cabrera. What's the evolution of him looked like through the process?
He's just attacking guys, getting ahead. His off-speed stuff looks better than ever. He's throwing strikes with it, so I think hitters have to be, conscious of all of his pitches instead of just a couple. So he's doing a really good job locating and executing everything.
How did you guys attack this Giants lineup, not just with Cabrera, with all your arms today?
Just going through the scouting report that, Mosk and the pitching coaches would give me. And they do a really good job, so just sticking with the plan, and Cabrera's doing a really good job, attacking them and executing it.
You got to give me one. Dane Myers catch or the Hernandez catch?
Man, both are great, but I think Dane's was probably one of the best catches I've ever seen. So that was unbelievable.
Where would this team be without Ronnie Enriquez?
He's been a rock out there, so he's thrown a lot of really big.
Calm and start saving today. GoodRx users are compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Hey, this is Anthony Bender, and you're listening to Marlins on Deck with Steven Strom on the Marlins Radio Network.
First 3-sip treaty. Oh, geez, let me restart that one. Good job right there, Ricardo and Ahmed. On the ones and twos here on this Friday afternoon, back home in the Fox Sports 940 Marlins Radio Network studios. That was a good job by them. Don't miss a moment of Marlins action. Download the iHeartRadio app. Make Fox Sports 940 the top preset, then listen to every Marlins game. Steven Strom, your host of the program. Jack McMullen with me. Scott Cornbert as well. Adam, the great Adam Nichols, also as a live audience, which is really nice to have him. Citrus Series, the Marlins are back in action after an off day yesterday. Edward Cabrera will go opposite Zach Littell. Let's get you ahead of the count. We'll start with Cabrera, who was simply sensational in the month of May. 5 starts, 27 combined, a 2 ERA, 28 punch-outs to 8 walks. The Marlins, most importantly, won 4 of his 5 starts and now takes the ball for the 10th time this season. He comes into Friday afternoon with a 2-1 record, a 4.14 ERA, 9 starts, 45 2/3. Cabby's career high in innings is 99 2/3, which he did in 2023. He'll cut that in half if he goes 5 frames today. He earned the win on Saturday against San Francisco. 6 hits, 3 walks, 5 2 scoreless, 5 punch-outs, 3 or less runs in 5 straight starts for Cabby. He has struggled, though, in his career against the Rays. 3 starts, a 7.20 ERA, just 5 combined, or just 10 combined frames. This will be the first time he faces off against him in 2025. Zach Littell will go opposite, and this is a guy who the Rays claimed off waivers on May 12, 2023, believe it or not. He'll make his 13th start of the season. 29-year-old right-hander is 5-5, a 3.86 ERA, 74 2/3 innings pitched this year, 48 punch-outs to 10 walks. He threw a complete game on Saturday in Houston, allowed 10 hits, 3 runs, 117 pitches. This is 2025. It's the most by any pitcher this season. And since having really like a balloon bad start on April 20th, where he gave up 7 runs, Zach Littell has yielded 3 runs or less in his last 9 outings. He's a slider, split, 4-seam, sinker, sweeper, and he will go opposite Edward Cabrera here to kick off this 9-game road trip for the Miami Marlins. Cabrera goes opposite Littell. We'll break here. We'll get Jack and Scott on next as we get you ready for a 1:10 first pitch. We're back in 2 minutes on the Marlins Radio Network.
Thrown on the run.
A 1 pitch is hammered out to left center field pretty deep. Hernandez is back. Track, wall. He jumps up. Hernandez made the catch. Heriberto Hernandez in his 2nd Major League game takes a 2-run home run away from Tyler Fitzgerald to end the inning.
The pitch at the same grip. Sometimes
1-1. Lee pumps into right center field. Myers on the move. Dane Myers back to the track. Myers jumps up and he made an insane play. Dane Myers in right center field went leaping at the wall, full speed into the padded wall, grimacing as he lays on the warning track, but Dane Myers just took an RBI double away from Jung-Hoo Lee.
That's incredible again.
4th shutout for the Marlins. We've seen Edward Cabrera the last couple of seasons. We've seen the great Cabrera. We've seen the struggling Cabrera. We're seeing the consistent Cabrera.
What's the evolution of him looked like through the process?
He's just attacking guys, getting ahead. His off-speed stuff looks better than ever. He's throwing strikes with it, so I think hitters have to be, conscious of all of his pitches instead of just a couple. So he's doing a really good job locating and executing everything.
How did you guys attack this Giants lineup, not just with Cabrera, with all your arms today?
Just going through the scouting report that Mosk and the pitching coaches would give me, and they do a really good job. So just sticking with the plan, and Cabrera's doing a really good job, attacking them and executing it.
You got to give me one: Dane Myers catch or the Hernandez catch?
Man, both are great, but I think Dane's was probably one of the best catches I've ever seen. So that was unbelievable.
Where would this team be without Ronnie Enriquez?
He's been a rock out there, so he's thrown a lot of really big innings for us.
500 Lock. That's 954-500-LOCK or visit LoctiteImpact.com.
Here's the pitch. Line shot up the middle, base hit. Bethencourt scores. Marlins win 10-9. An extraordinary come-from-behind victory. Otto Lopez, a ground ball through the middle. And the Miami Marlins down by 5 in the 7th inning and 4 in the 9th have won 10-9.
Hey, I know that guy. That's Scott Kornberg. And he's with us for this entire road trip as we welcome you back, Scott. Jack McMullen, Steven Strom here. Great to have you aboard Citrus Series Part 2, the last installment of it. And I'll start with you, Scott, just prepping for our beloved fish. What did you come out with on how they can snap out of this mini skid?
Yeah, I think it probably starts with the offense, which has been Jekyll and Hyde of late. And you get a guy in Zach Littell. Steven, you just talked about him. He's been so good recently, but he's coming off, as you said, a 117-pitch outing. Maybe today, coming off of that, maybe that affects him. We'll see. It's really hot outside. So I think it starts with the offense today. Hopefully that leads into a big road trip for these guys.
I'll come back to you because I want you to tell me a little bit about Littell. But, Jack, fill in the blank here. We talked to Clayton earlier. What or who needs to be the catalyst for us to say after 9 days we had a successful road trip?
Wags. Surely Wags. Absolutely Eric Wagman. No, I honestly, can I give you a couple of names?
Yep, absolutely.
Ryan Weathers and Yuri Perez. Like those are the two names that I want to give you. You need some of the pitching talents in Major League Baseball, pitching like some of the brightest young pitching talents in Major League Baseball. And I think it's easier to ask Ryan to do that because he already has 4 starts under his belt. I think it's harder to ask Yuri to do that, but Yuri's going to have the opportunity to throw against a Pirates lineup that has been one of the worst in baseball. He will throw on Monday, and then he'll throw again if my math is right, to wrap up that series in Washington. So we'll see Yuri Perez make 2 starts on this road trip. We'll see Weathers make 2 starts on this road trip as well. So I think if those 2 guys can be tone setters and then Sandy rides that quality start high that he had against Colorado, we could be cooking with some gas.
All right, let's stick on the arm topic then, Scott. Zach Littell coming off that complete game. How has he found this success here in 25?
It's interesting. Jack was mentioning this before the broadcast today. He throws his slider more than any pitch, but it's not really an effective pitch. One of his more effective pitches, and listening to Kyle Snyder, the Rays pitching coach, this week talking about this, is his splitter, and it's the pitch that he gets a huge majority of his strikeouts on. So it's almost like he needs to use that slider to get to 2 strikes, to use that splitter. He's got 24 strikeouts on that splitter this year. The numbers are not terrible. They're not incredible with the splitter, but that's really big. And this is a guy who just goes out there. He gives them innings every single time, which is incredibly effective. Their bullpen in the last 18 games, Jack, has a 1.88 ERA, and they're only throwing 3 innings a game.
It's been amazing. And I will say, the strikeout numbers are there for the Tampa Bay Rays right now. I think that's 4 consecutive games where they have punched out 10 or more. Littell, he's not really a strikeout guy. You look at the overall just whiff rates, kind of pitch by pitch. They're not high. Like, you're going to put the ball in play. The question is it going to be on the ground in the air? When Littell's not going right, it's a homer problem.
Yeah.
He allows a lot of home runs this year, and the slug is pretty high. We just talked about this ballpark. It's 314 down the line and right. It's 318 down the line and left. The Marlins can win this game by out-homering the Tampa Bay Rays.
Are we seeing the American League version of the San Francisco Giants, Jack?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, pitch first.
Pitching dominance, offense lags
sporadic.
behind. I don't know, because what's going on in San Francisco right now is really weird. Like, it is never before seen in the history of the Giants, whether it was in New York or San Francisco, like this level of offensive, I don't want to say ineptitude because that's mean, but like level of offensive anemia, I'll say. We haven't seen that in the history of that franchise, and it feels like everybody is cold right now. Tampa's got some guys, and I know Scott has watched a lot of Jake Mangum baseball. Mangum can wreak havoc on the base paths, and they've got some other guys. I think Josh Lowe can really swing it. I think Brandon Lau can swing it. And, oh, by the way, Junior Caminero is one of the hottest bats in baseball.
Yeah, I think what I probably should have asked you, are we going to see a similar series in the sense that pitching is at a premium, offense is, probably something where you're going to have to scrape together 3-4 runs to win a game, but maybe not with these dimensions, guys.
It's just tough because this is a hitter-friendly ballpark, and we just saw two pitching-first teams play each other in a pitcher-friendly ballpark.
Yeah, and like you said, these guys are hot pretty much up and down the lineup. Even Jonathan Aranda getting cleanup today for the Rays. So it's a really interesting matchup. I mean, I think the Marlins pitching lines up pretty good today. Cabrera, as you said, Steven is on fire. Ryan Weathers is a terrific pitcher to follow him. We'll see what happens on Sunday. So it's kind of one of those things. What is going to give this weekend? And it's a really great opportunity for the Marlins. You took 2 out of 3 from the Rays a couple weeks ago. You've got a chance to win the Citrus Series for the first time in 7 years. Get some really positive momentum going on this road trip to 2 pretty winnable series ahead. Pittsburgh and Washington on the horizon in this 3-city trip.
Hey, bad news for the Rays, real quick. Just saw Eric Wagaman pop out of the dugout.
Yep, and that wasn't me. That was the manager's take. He said that if we have Eric Wagaman going, it's going to be a successful road trip. Again, Scott and Jack have your call at 1:10. We will break here. Edward Cabrera will go opposite Zach Littell. But first, you got to hear Steve's guarantee. You don't want to miss it because I got 2 for you. Expo question. It's all next. 1:10 first pitch right here on the Marlins Radio Network.
Thrown on the run.
A 1 pitch is hammered out to left center field, pretty deep. Hernandez is back, track, wall. He jumps up. Hernandez made the catch. Heriberto Hernandez, in his second major league game, takes a 2-run home run away from Tyler Fitzgerald to end the inning.
The pitch at the same grip. Sometimes
1-1. Lee pumps into right center field. Myers on the move. Dane Myers back to the track. Myers jumps up, and he made an insane play. Dane Myers in right center field went leaping at the wall, full speed into the padded wall, grimacing as he lays on the warning track. But Dane Myers just took an RBI double away from Jung-Hoo Lee.
That's incredible again.
4th shutout for the Marlins. We've seen Edward Cabrera the last couple of seasons. We've seen the great Cabrera. We've seen the struggling Cabrera. We're seeing the consistent Cabrera. What's the evolution of him looked like through the process?
He's just attacking guys, getting ahead. His off-speed stuff looks better than ever. He's throwing strikes with it, so I think hitters have to be, conscious of all of his pitches instead of just a couple. So he's doing a really good job locating and executing everything.
How did you guys attack this Giants lineup, not just with Cabrera, with all your arms today?
Just going through the scouting report that, Mosk and the pitching coaches would give me. And they do a really good job, so just sticking with the plan, and Cabrera's doing a really good job, attacking them and executing it.
You got to give me one. Dane Myers catch or the Hernandez catch?
Man, both are great, but I think Dane's was probably one of the best catches I've ever seen. So that was unbelievable.
Where would this team be without Ronnie Enriquez?
He's been a rock out there, so he's thrown a lot of really big innings for.
Coming back, visit marlins.com/raffle for more information.
Well, we're off and running here on a Friday afternoon. Really nice to have a Friday afternoon game. 1:10 first pitch. Tampa for 3, Pittsburgh for 3, DC for 3. And the Marlins are looking to respond after being swept by the Colorado Rockies. I think this is a huge test of character and sort of who is in that clubhouse steering the ship, right? And getting up and being like, okay, we had an off day yesterday. We just took, 3 L's to the Colorado Rockies. We got to respond. And this is a team that they've beaten before in the regular season, the Tampa Bay Rays. And Edward Cabrera, who's just been fantastic in the last 5 and in the month of May, is looking to turn the corner here in the month of June. I looked up his best month of his career, Edward Cabrera. You have to give the nod. August 2022, 5 starts, a 1.91 ERA, 28 1/3. in May of 2025 pitched to a 2 ERA. Regardless, we're starting to see the consistent Cabrera. He'll go opposite Zach Littell. Let's get to our X poll question today. We mentioned this. When was the last time the Marlins and the Rays played outdoors? Of course, it's been at Lone Depot Park and Tropicana Field for the longest time. Make sure to vote at Marlins Radio. Ahmed, I think it's time for Steve's Guarantees.
Batter up. Batter up.
Let's play some ball.
First pitch is moments away. Time now for Steve's Guarantees.
Scott and Jack mentioned that Zach Littell loves to throw that slider, but opponents are hitting 330 against it with 6 home runs. We talked about the dimensions here, too. This is a replica of Yankee Stadium, the short porch in right field. So I'm looking at Hicksy. Liam Hicks is going to play first here. I like him to have an extra base hit tonight against Littell. And then another guy, Eric Wagaman. How can I not? If the manager says it, you got to jump on, because if I'm wrong, I can just blame the manager, right? That's what you fans do. So I like Eric Wagaman to have an extra base hit. Liam Hicks as well. Edward Cabrera. I don't know. I want to say quality start, but I'm telling you, folks, if you're wearing gray, bad decision. It's 89 degrees. It's hot. It's humid. It's sticky. This is Tampa, and it's June. So this is a tough environment to play in outdoors. I like Cabrera to have a nice start, but I'm not sure if he gets to 6. He has not gotten to 6 all season long. It's always been 5 1/3, 5 2/3, but I like him to put together a solid start. I'll say 5 innings, less than 3 runs for Edward Cabrera. Folks, I hope you got the itch for first pitch, because when we come back, Jack McMullen paints a picture. Scott Kornberg, he's ready to rock. Ryan Lamson, first pitch is right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in to the Marlins On Deck pregame show. I'm Steven Strom. Let's flip the M together, Miami Marlins baseball. It's next on the Marlins Radio Network.
Shop the